Now quickly before we get into this video, let me know down in the comments below what is your KD currently in this game. I've been camo grinding a lot and my KD went down to a 1.28. I am angry that I'm gonna get back up to like a 2.0 possibly. But yeah, let me know yours down in the comments. Let's get into the video. Today we're going to be looking at how to instantly improve your aim in Modern Warfare 2, and trust me guys, if you're tired of shooting first and dying first, you've come to the right video. But that isn't the only case. A lot of the times people who end up shooting first and dying first is because they're not paying attention in their gunfights. They see an enemy and they panic shoot right away. They're like, oh, I'm about to get this kill. They start shooting at him and they're not paying attention to what part of the body they're actually shooting. If you get into your next gunfight and you actually focus on where you're shooting, you're going to see a lot of times your gun is going to end up shooting the enemy in the legs. What you should be doing instead is every single gunfight you get into, focus on shooting at the chest. Even if you got to tell yourself in the head, I'm gonna shoot this guy in the chest, keep shooting this guy in the chest, you'll notice that you end up playing a lot better and better. But now we're gonna get into the video to actually help you guys improve your aim in Modern Warfare 2, and I'm gonna be looking at 5 tips to get you guys your aim on point and awareness on point as well, so you can start raising your KD and winning more gunfights and hopefully getting to the top of the leaderboard in a lot more lobbies. Alright guys, let's get straight into it. At tip number 1, I'm gonna say this, you gotta practice your aim a lot. I've said this so many times, but I gotta get this one out of the way first because I think it's probably one of the most important tips. If you're the type of person who loses a lot of gunfights, even though you're shooting at the enemy at the same time he's shooting at you, you probably need a little more practice. And the best way to practice aiming at certain body parts is going into a private match. What you want to do in the private match is you want to set it to have 6 enemy bots. I think that's the max you could put right now, and put them on the easiest difficulty in the game, which is recruit. You want to set them to that so they don't really shoot back at you much. It's not important that they actually shoot at you. It's better off that you actually shoot at them. Then what you want to do is you want to turn aim assist off and you want to set it to headshots only so that you could actually start practicing shooting them at the head. And what you should be doing as well is setting the health to the maximum so you could get way more shots on target. Going on to another tip, I want to talk about something that a lot of COD players don't like to admit they do, but most, I'd say 99% of players actually do it, and it does help you win gunfights. So a lot of people say, oh, don't camp in this game, camping is for losers. Oh, don't head glitch, head glitching is for losers. Guys, that's not the case at all, alright? If you're not doing that, this is my argument, if you're not doing that, you're the loser. You're going to be losing a lot more gunfights. So in my opinion, getting head glitches, getting behind cover that's actually going to help protect most of your body is going to help you win a lot more gunfights. For example, you're playing on Shoot House, there's that one corner of the map near the little buildings before you get to the junkyard where there's a big thing that a lot of people like to hide behind, and it covers most of their body and you could only pretty much see their forehead. You guys can see in the gameplay right here, just so you can understand what I'm talking about. Getting behind this cover is going to make it really hard for the enemies to shoot at you, and that's what you want. You want it to be impossible, nearly impossible I should say, for the enemies to hit you while their bodies are completely out in the open. The only place that they could shoot you from here that they're not behind cover is right behind that little thing that all the sniper people step on to snipe. If they go behind there, you both have equal cover. Anywhere else they're on where they could see you when you're hiding in this area, they're going to be fully open. Their body's going to be completely exposed and it's going to be really easy for you to hit them. Now that's something that you should really be focusing on as well. Now there is certain types of ammunition in this game that you could throw onto your guns that give the enemy flinch as well. And this is really good because if you start shooting at the enemies, especially when you're behind cover and already hard to hit, you're going to make them flinch upwards and they're going to be missing a lot of shots on you and you're going to be just lasering them down completely. So that's something I'm going to say. You got to take cover. You got to use cover to your advantage, and you got to also camp sometimes. I always say this. When you're hiding in a certain area, don't just stay in the same corner over and over and over again, but instead move from one corner to the other. Kill an enemy, change locations by like 5 or 10 meters. Don't even go that far away. Let them come back to you, kill them again, kill their teammates, and then move from that area. Go stay somewhere else. If you're running consistently across the map in circles and you're just looking for people running non-stop, you're going to get into situations where enemies come behind you, enemies come in front of you, enemies come beside you. And not only that, if you're sprinting across the whole entire map, you're going to have a slower shooting time, shoot to fire time, or sprint to fire time I should say, than someone who's actually camping and using head glitches. So you're going to lose a lot of gunfights if you're running around like a headless chicken. Don't do that. Now going down to tip number 3, you gotta pay attention to that minimap and listen to audio cues. Now this is going to tell you where the enemies are most of the time. Now we know that when enemies shoot in this game, the red dots don't appear on the minimap whatsoever. But once you know where the enemies are going to be, this is really good for you for two reasons. If you have a UAV up, you're obviously going to see where the enemies are. If you have bird's eye up, you're going to see where the enemies are with their location as well, which direction they're facing in, and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to help you too. Now, the good thing about this is that even if you don't see the enemy's red dots when they shoot, once you look at the minimap and you see where all of your teammates are and none of your teammates are dying, you know for a fact there's no enemies in that area, or if there is, it's probably one of them and he's camping pretty good because your teammates can't find him. Now, you know that if you're with all your teammates on one side of the map and no one sees anyone, the enemies are most likely on the other side of the map, and this is where you should begin to pre-aim big traffic areas. If there's an area where a lot of enemies tend to run from, you want to be pre-aiming that so that by the time they turn the corner, you could already start firing at them and kill them before they could even react, before they could even see you. That's something you definitely want to do. Now, if you hear audio cues, if you're staying in a building, you're looking out the window and you hear audio cues, you hear someone coming to your left up the stairs, this is your cue to turn around, aim at the stairs, and get ready to fire. You want to do that for sure. And if you have a flashbang, even better. Flash him and run there and smack him. It's gonna do you good. And trust me, guys, it's really important to use a good headset in this game. I'm not saying go ahead and use the most expensive headset. Just use a headset that has audio that you could hear on all sides. I forget what it's called. I think the one where it is like stereo audio, maybe mono. I don't know. Any of you audio guys out there, let me know what it's called down in the comments below. Use a headset where you could hear left and right independently, up and down independently, and all that kind of stuff. You can find some out there for like 40-50 bucks even. They're not that bad. Another thing I want to say, guys, before we move on to the next tip, and this is a bonus one, use Control Freaks. I say this a lot, and not because I'm sponsored by them. These things, I'm like, I'll go to my grave saying Control Freaks are the best thing alive. And you guys could use my code as well, It's Nick, and you'll save yourself 15 or 10%, I believe. I think maybe you could use code It's Nick for 10%, and It's Nick 15 maybe gives you 15%. I don't know if that's still running, but try It's Nick anyways, and you guys can save yourself some nice money on those. These things are going to help you with your aim, especially if you use the concave ones, the ones that go in. Those, in my opinion, are the best, and they're really good, and I cannot play any FPS games without Control Freaks. Now, let's get on to some more tips in this. So, one other thing that you really got to do is stay patient. I get it. A lot of people can't be patient. This is tip number 4, man. And no one really talks about patience in FPS games, but it's probably one of the most important things ever. And that's why COD timing is so bad, is because nobody is patient enough to just sit there and wait a few seconds. Everyone thinks they're playing COD, they gotta run around and do stuff. Guys, if you're sitting in one area and you're watching and no enemies are coming at all, and then you get up, and the second you get up, someone shoots at you, you just weren't patient enough, in my opinion. But that's not the only thing that patience is good with. If you get into a very long-range gunfight, and I'm talking maybe like 30-40 meters, be patient in this gunfight. You don't want to start shooting and just spraying and praying. You don't want to do that. You want to take your time with your shots. Try to hit the enemy. If you see that you're missing a lot of shots or a lot of them are going off target, stop shooting. The recoil is just, it's way too high at that point. Start burst shooting instead. Hold down R1 or L or R2, whatever you use to shoot. Hold it for 2 seconds, let go. Hold it again, let go. Hold it again, let go. This way your gun's recoil is not going to kick up and down like crazy, and you'll probably end up dropping this dude really, really fast. So definitely have some patience, especially in the longer range gunfights. Now there's 2 more tips that I kind of want to talk about in this one, and the reason this is only 5 tips in this video is because the one that I'm going to talk about now is tip number 5, and the other one that I'm going to talk about is more of like a bonus and something that you should be doing periodically, not every single game, but periodically. But we'll get into that in a moment. So the first one I want to talk about, and tip number 5 here, the final tip, is sensitivity. Guys, you gotta play at a sensitivity you're comfortable at. A lot of people say, oh, you gotta play at a 20 sensitivity, oh, you gotta play at a 12. It doesn't matter. You don't have to play what someone else plays on just because they tell you to play on that to make your aim better. What you should be doing is finding a sensitivity you're comfortable with, but not one that is too slow, like a 1. You don't want to run a sensitivity 1 because then if someone shoots you in the back, you have no time to turn on them. But then also on the other side of the spectrum, you don't want to use a sensitivity like 20 if you're not able to control it, because then you're just going to be moving all over the place and missing your first 10 shots before you could actually aim at the enemy properly. But what you want to do is you want to set a sensitivity to something you're comfortable at, something that's really easy for you to control, whether it's 5, whether it's 13. Just don't listen to everyone when they say you gotta use 20 or you gotta use 4 or whatever. Play at what you're comfortable at and don't worry about it. Now, if your aim is really bad while you're shooting your gun, I would recommend the ADS sensitivity to be lower than a 1.0, maybe a 0.90. That's going to help you guys stay on target a lot easier. And the last thing I want to talk about, guys, if you're raging a lot, your aim is going to be horrible. Back out of that game, leave that lobby, don't stay, it's not worth it. Who cares about the enemies? Who cares about your teammates? You don't know these dudes. Get out of that lobby and start fresh. You don't have to finish a lobby. Alright, that's going to be it for the video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to drop a like, sub to the channel if you guys are around here with those noties turned on, and let me know down in the comments below, what is your KD in this game? Alright guys, my name is Nick, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!